welcome Danielle Williams.
Hello, how are you?
I am excellent. Danielle is going to be one of 54 authors at the Festival of Books and Creativity at 12 Mile Crossing at Fountain Walk in Novi on Sunday, June 29th. Danielle, we're going to have close to 300 different titles. So that's a lot. But you
Mhm.
have six?
I have five. I'm hoping six will be published by the time we get there. I'm still writing number six at the moment. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and they're all paranormal romance.
So let's go through those books. Show us those book covers and tell us about your books.
Okay, okay. The first one, I have two series, but the
Mhm.
first series is the Nightshade Vampires, and the very first book in it is Shadow's Debt. You can find it underneath my pen name, Danni Williams,
Mhm.
on Amazon and on my website. I'll have this book there. This book is it's the first book in the Nightshade Vampire series. I'm talking about Simone and Lord Andre Silversbane, where can you imagine your father sold you to cover his debts. Well, it turns out that Simone thought she was going to go to college, and after she's done college, she's a dragon shifter, and
Mhm.
thought she was going to go and live her own life, but finds out no, her father said, father essentially sold her for $10 million over to a vampire.
Ooh.
Luckily for her, the vampire is her mate, is her fated mate. So there's a lot of trials and tribulations they go through, and they're also looking for an ancient artifact because there's a goddess trying to reemerge, and she needs five artifacts to come out of her seclusion.
Mhm.
Actually, she come out of her prison, but you start to
Mhm.
get hints of that in this book. Book two in the series is Shadow's Doubt, and that's
Ooh.
continuing on with the search for the crown. And it's also every one of my books is a different couple because I
Mhm.
don't like talking about the same couple from book to book. So
Okay.
this one talks about Lisa Silversbane, who is Andre's second in command, and a wolf shifter that's introduced named Sean. They are in a previous book. Simone's mother had gotten kidnapped, so this book is about them trying to find her mother and the race to save her in time. There's
Ooh.
kind of a twist at the end. I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a little bit.
Got to read the book.
Yes, and both books one and two. Books one is based in Metro Detroit and in Las Vegas and in France.
Ooh.
Book two is based in Metro Detroit and in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Book three is Shadow's Price. This is wholly in Detroit. This one is about Clarissa, who's a lion shifter, and Remy Silversbane, who is a vampire. They're looking for the fabled sword of truth that's for the lion shifters. They're
Mhm.
trying to find it, a to stop the minions of the goddess from getting it, and also two to save. Oh, sorry, I didn't put that up there. Also two um to save Clarissa's her ruling prince
Mhm.
got poisoned, and the sword has powers enough to save him. That's the only thing that can save him. So they're on a race against time before he dies to save him. And I'm writing book four in this series right now, Shadows.
Okay.
I'm basing that solely in New Orleans. So I'm actually going to
Ooh.
take a weekend trip down there so I can take pictures and do some
Oh.
sightseeing so I can make it more realistic. Because normally I write about cities I've visited, so or
Mhm.
lived. The next book is Fate's Embrace. Um, this is the first book
Ooh.
in my new. Hold on, let me scoot that over. The first book in my new series, A Night to Remember. The premise of the series is what happens if you get a bunch of vampires and shapeshifters and other supernaturals at a big party. Stuff happens. I'm in there. I'm the chronicler of the stuff that happens in this book. In this series. So in this first book, it's a dragon shifter and vampire mating. And this one, there's Nightshade Court is having the Vampire Court is having their grand opening gala of their
Mhm.
opening brand new headquarters in the city of Detroit. So they're all the supernatural dignitaries are there. Well, while there, Chris finds out that his mate is Barb. Chris is a vampire.
Mhm.
Who owns his own security company. Barb Davis is a dragon shifter.
Oh.
And again, this is kind of like the fated mate trope.
Mhm.
Turns out there's this. the villain of the story is another dragon who wants her and will do anything possible to get her. And during the course of the events of the night, she gets kidnapped from the gala, and then they go and they rush to save her. At that point, that's where the
Mhm.
ever after comes in. This one is a novella,
Okay.
and book two of this is actually done and written. I can't publish it, however, because it's going into an anthology that's not being released until July. So I'm gonna see if
Oh.
I can get copies of the I should have copies physically in my hand of the anthology by the time the event happens. So hopefully I'll actually have the anthology with me at
Okay.
the event. That's my goal.
Awesome.
Place an order. All the editing and everything for the anthology has to be done by May 30th. So
Okay.
we're gonna go ahead and place the order that day. I'm kind of heading up the anthology. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so all the books are coming to my house, and then
Oh.
the other two authors in the anthology don't have storage for the amount of books that we're ordering. So
Oh,
we're gonna
okay.
order them in, and then when I meet with them at some other book events, I'm gonna give them their books, and then we're all gonna sell them
Nice.
online. Mhm.
So what other stories are in that anthology?
Right now it's the anthology is gonna be titled Blood and Lust, and
Oh.
there's gonna be a vampire story about a vampire who owns a bar,
Mhm.
and from there, and that's gonna be the start of a series of my friend Jory Reeves, and then Aaliyah Del Rey. I'm not sure what book is gonna be in there 'cause she's still writing it, so I haven't did it, but
Okay.
all of it has to be paranormal romance
Okay, so there is one central
theme. Yeah.
theme to it. Okay.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
it's like kind of just like series starters for all of us.
Mhm.
Or my case second book in the series, but all of my series can stand alone. They don't have to
Okay.
go in it. So it's just a way to introduce everybody into our worlds of our books. And then
Awesome.
I have one more book that's
Oh.
published, Shadow's Price. This is a
Oh.
novella in the Nightshade Vampire series based in Cincinnati. And
Mm.
my main heroine is a wolf shifter named Sheila. She's being chased by a mob boss with fur. I guess I'm saying it. Her parents, again, I'm kind of using the bad parent trope a lot, but her father not owed a lot owed a lot of money to this mob boss. Well, he
Mhm.
didn't sell her or anything like that. But he didn't pay it back in enough time, and her whole family's nothing but grifters. So
Ah.
she was trying to get away from the grifter life.
Mhm.
But he wound up killing most of her family. The mob boss did, and decides that if he wasn't going to get all the money he was owed, he was going to take her. And he was going to take her as a bait instead. She
Mhm.
flees Las Vegas and flees to Cincinnati, where
Mhm.
she hooks up with where she meets the vampire master of the city named and I'm sorry, Javier,
Mhm.
and she finds out that they find out they're fated mates. So, and that's the adventure of the mob boss trying to get her back, and her
Mhm.
coming into her own during the course of the novel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. You have a nice selection there. What got you started writing paranormal romance?
I originally wanted to write fantasy, but I didn't know how to make up the worlds and everything, but I still wanted magic. I still wanted supernatural creatures. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, I love romance. I love paranormal romance. I'm like, okay, I could write about magic in the real world
Mhm.
starting off. And I started that off during lockdown, actually. Shadow's Debt was written over the course of lockdown when everybody was bored. We were getting on Zoom meetings. And then I happened to get into a group of writers called Musers Writings, and I don't know why the name Musers, but it's a group of like 8 or 9 of us.
Okay.
We get together every morning from 8 to 9
Oh,
on
wow.
Google Meets, and 3 days a week we do writing prompts.
Okay.
One day we read off what we wrote during the week, and then Fridays we do like we bring in different topics like selling at live events or promotions. So Friday's kind of a community learning for us.
Nice. You know, community is such an important thing to have, and especially like you started during lockdown. That is huge. That's when we all figured out that we really needed our community of people.
Yeah. But I didn't start writing during lockdown. I just started writing my first book to try to sell. I
Okay.
actually paid my way through college on writing scholarships. I would write short
Oh,
stories and submit them, and they would range anywhere from $500 to like $5,000. So I was constantly putting in my short stories. Now, mind you, I have two engineering degrees, but I
yes, I
love to,
see the connection.
yeah. But this was during the '90s. You had to have an agent to do it, and
Yep.
everybody was telling me that you're not going to be able to make a living off of it. You can't do it. How are you going to eat? So, my parents like, if we're paying for school, if we're helping you pay for school, we want you to get some type
Mm,
of STEM degree. So I got like a software
okay.
engineering and a hardware engineering degree. And fun fact, I have never once a day I did not use either one of the degrees until my current job.
Okay, so that leads into the question of what is your current job?
I am a vehicle logistics analyst at Ford Motor Company. How so essentially I'm a liaison between our vendors, IT, and Ford. Yeah, my job I call my job herding cats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't do the IT work. I just manage everyone else. I just manage projects and make sure that everybody's
Okay.
doing it. But you had to do the job. You have to have some sort of IT background. So I
Oh,
have the background, but I don't, like I said, I don't do any coding or anything like that. I just tell everybody what to do and make sure all the deliverables and stuff are done.
well, that's a good thing. That you
Yeah,
have to have done. Yes. I love when, you use your writing though to get your degrees
yeah,
and help you with that. So all of that writing that you did previously with those contests and all of that, is any of that in your current stories? And if not, are you gonna put you could put that all into an anthology?
yeah. I Problem is that what my computer with a lot of it that was stored on the hard drive got destroyed, so I don't have a lot of those stories
Oh
anymore.
man.
Yeah, because otherwise I would have cleaned those stories up and put them in. Because I did a lot but everything in college I did was fantasy.
Okay.
So I'm actually plotting out a trilogy to do. So after I finish Shadow's Moon, I'm going to take a brief pause on paranormal romance and try to write my first romantasy.
Oh. So you are a plotter or just for the romantasy?
I'm plotting for the romantasy because it's a trilogy and it's going to be the same couple through all three books. So I'm plotting
Okay.
for that. I'm a between a potter and a pantser, kind of a planter. Um, because I'll do a whole outline. My character's like, yeah, we're not gonna do this. So we deviate. So then I try to plot out. So I've learned the hard way just to plot out the major beats.
Mhm.
And what I do a lot of times is I'll write a paragraph of a paragraph summary of what I want to write that day, so I can at least
Okay.
keep track. And I keep track of those paragraph summaries so that help me write then try to get it all down to a blurb. As we all know, blurbs are extremely hard to write. You're trying to condense your whole book into two or three paragraphs.
Yep. Without giving away the ending.
Yes, just enough to get interested. And
Mhm.
also, what I'm starting to do now is I'm starting to, and I've only done a couple sessions of this. I'm starting to dictate. I have a 30-minute drive to and from work every day.
Oh, okay.
I turn on a notes app, but before I go, I look at a paragraph before I drive of what I want to write, and I
Mhm.
talk it through. Now that I'm going to admit it comes out garbage. It's one whole big huge paragraph that
Right.
I have to then parse into a story. But it helps. It's easier to edit if you got something on the page.
This is true.
Yeah. So because I want to write faster because I'm not the world's fastest writer. So I want to
Mhm.
try to. I'm lucky if I can get 2 books a year out.
Okay.
So I'm at this point where I've got to kind of increase the productivity. And with romantasy, the books got to be at least 80,000 words or
Yep.
more. So I have the outlines for 3 books on a Cinderella retelling.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
but instead of the stepmother being evil, the father is evil.
Oh, oh, I like
Yeah, so
it.
I'm literally telling the story over 3 books.
Okay.
Yeah, and Prince Charming can be a jerk.
Of
Prince
course.
Charming's gonna, Prince Charming's gonna be an alpha hole. I called it.
Awesome. So you're going to be doing some romantasy. You've
Yeah,
got paranormal romance. Any other genres that you want to dip your toe into?
I don't know. I love contemporary romance. I just don't want to write it. Maybe I might one day want to write it, but I need magic wands. I need, you
Okay.
know, I need something. I need something out of the ordinary. So
Okay.
that's why contemporary has been out. Although I did when I was bored. When when I have a slump, sometimes I'll plot out other ideas or other books. And I
Mhm.
also I'm in another group that meets like once or twice a month, where the leader of the group, she studied like fairy tales and stuff like that at Oxford.
Oh.
So
Oh,
she goes
wow.
through and she gives us guided prompts. So I have a bunch of story material on my computer from guided
Mhm.
prompts from different fairy tales. That's why I'm going to kind of go in the fairy tale telling
Oh,
direction. Mhm.
interesting.
And I'm thinking about merging some of the lesser known fairy tales into the major fairy tale retellings, so I could have,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
mhm,
Play around with the fairy tales and make them into something completely new.
yeah, where
I
it's a retelling. Her name might be Cinderella, but that's and you get the basic outline, but there's a lot that can go on in between.
Well, and even with these retellings, you don't necessarily even have to use Cinderella's name.
Yeah, or you can do it. I got her nickname in my notes as Cinders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Cinders.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So yeah, this should be interesting. And I'm gonna name this the series. The working title is of the series is Fractured Fairy Tales.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll have something out. I'll have something. I can't say when in 2026, but I'm hoping to
Okay.
have that sometime in 2026. But Shadow's Moon, I'm over halfway. What I'm working on now, I'm over halfway done writing that. So I want to have
Okay.
that I want to have out later in 2025. But Fate's Desire, which is the book that's in the anthology, is going to publish this year, but by itself, it's going to publish at the end of the year.
Okay. So you are going to release it all by itself
Yeah,
aside from. Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
But hopefully, I'll have the anthology with it in there for. Hopefully, the books it will be cutting it close, but um, we're doing we're doing paperbacks. We're also going to do a special edition hardcover,
Oh,
and then
nice.
and the paperbacks are going to have sprayed edges. The foil
Oh.
thing is going to be like a really fancy paperback that we're going to do. Because the three of us, we all do events all year. I mean, during the spring and summer. I don't do events in the wintertime because I don't like to freeze, and I don't like to sweat boxes and everything during the snow. And so, this past Christmas was the last Christmas I'm going to do. I'm like, I understand it's a big selling time of the year, but I don't like to freeze.
Well, you're doing indoor events though in the winter, right?
Yeah, but you still got to carry all that stuff in and all
Oh,
that.
okay. I was just making
And
sure that
yeah, no, doing indoor events, but I still don't. It's cold. And so I'm like between like March and October is my event season. And then the rest of the time I'll just use it on just writing. But plus because I sell paranormal romance, Halloween is my biggest time of the year.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Halloween and Comic Cons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Those would be good places to have that because you've got vampires and all the
Werewolves
super.
and dragon shifters.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I
I'm really
can't.
excited for that. Sorry.
So, what do you have planned for events between now and the end of June?
Now in the end of June, I have next week. I'm doing this at Novi Suburban Showplace. I'm doing the Michigan Makers second annual spring show.
Mhm.
I'm doing
Mhm.
that. I'm in May. I'm doing halfway to Halloween,
Okay.
and beginning of June, I'm doing the River Raisin Renaissance Fair.
Oh,
and then the Festival of Books Creativity and creativity show. So that's what I have going on up until June.
okay. Any big events after June?
Yeah, after June, that's I'm doing beginning of end of July or early August. I'm doing a Gen Con gaming convention. I'm going to be
Mhm.
speaking as a writer there. I'm going to be giving
Oh,
workshops while I'm there. It's in Indianapolis at the convention center. And I'm also doing
nice.
my publishing company, Dragonflight Media, which right now is only me, but my publishing company actually is having a table there where
Okay,
the two ladies that are going to be in an anthology with me are going to be there too as well. We form a collective called Bookworm Authors.
okay,
Um, so we frequently we do events together.
okay,
They're based down in Ohio, and I'm the only one here in Michigan. And then after that, I'm gonna do the Wicked Bazaar in
mhm,
September. I'm gonna do the Monroe Comic Con,
mhm.
and I'm doing the Mums Festival down in Southern Ohio, close to close to Canton, Ohio. Not Canton. I mix all those cities in Ohio up. Close to Dayton, Ohio.
One of them cities.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to getting to meet you at the
Looking forward
end
to
of
meeting you too.
June in person in Novi. That's going to be fun. And I just want to thank you for taking some time out and sharing your books with us and your journey of writing.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
Can't wait to see you in person in June.
Will do. It's gonna be fun.
Thanks.